Another thing I want to discuss, the hot storyline on SmackDown right now is the Intercontinental title with Drew McIntyre.
Yep.
Now, this past Sunday at Over the Limit, we had Kofi beat Drew McIntyre for the belt.
Yes.
But we've had people beat Drew McIntyre for the belt before, and then Vince McMahon gets involved and says, no, you reverse the decision, and you will give Drew the belt back.
Yep.
One thing I think they should do with this, and this may not be the best idea, but it's just one that I came up with as far as storyline, keeping it interesting. Have Drew McIntyre come out every week and have Teddy Long try to line him up with an opponent, but nobody will wrestle him. Because what's the point? What's the point of wrestling Drew McIntyre and trying to win the belt if every time you win it, it's going to be reversed? And have every SmackDown star say, you know what? No, I'm not going to go out there and put myself in harm's way for a belt that I'll never even win.
Yep.
And then let the 30-day rule lapse on Drew McIntyre's title reign. Come up 30 days from now or at the next pay-per-view at Fatal 4-Way and go, you know what? You haven't defended the title in 30 days. Oh, we got to strip you of it now. And then have a Fatal 4-Way for the title. Yeah. And if you want, throw Drew back in there.
Yep.
Or leave him out. But that's one way, and plus it would really mess with Vince McMahon's credibility, because Vince McMahon can't come out and say, well, I can't exactly reverse that rule because it's been in there forever. And the 30-day rule is not something they use. It's very rarely used. I mean, people don't even hardly mention it. It was mentioned a lot back in the day, back in the late 80s, early 90s when I first started watching wrestling. It was mentioned, especially with like the Honky Tonk Man and Mr. Perfect.
And plus, they did use that with the when Edge got injured and Christian and Jericho fought over the belt in the ladder match.
And I believe Shawn Michaels actually used that angle one time as well. But that's just a way to keep, you know, bring back a rule that's not really used all that much and kind of keep it original.
Yeah.
Going off of Over the Limit, I actually watched the pay-per-view. I have quite a few issues with the Over the Limit pay-per-view, and we'll go into that now. First, the Cena, we'll go from the main event and go backwards. The Cena-Batista match was incredibly horrible. You're going to have, and there's a couple of things I wanted to point out. First thing is, you're going to have Cena get all bloodied and beaten and bloodied out of his forehead when he gets body slammed.
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact move, but it was some move that he ends up on his back, but then he's bleeding out of his forehead because of it. Don't quite get that one. And the second thing was, John Cena in the middle of the ring puts the STF on Batista.
Right.
Batista's sitting there reaching for the ropes, and like after a minute, he passes out. What's after like a minute? Okay, he's like, oh, and he just passed out. And what's really funny is then Cena goes out and gets some water, and about the time he brings the water back into the ring to put on Batista to wake him up, Batista wakes up. I was like, are you kidding me? That has to be the worst pass out job I have ever seen. I mean, good Lord.
So is that on Batista or Cena?
I don't know. I would put it on Batista, honestly, because Batista just was like, oh, dead. It was just like, what?
I know he nearly knocked out Edge one time doing that.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Whatever.
Anyway.
And did anybody else notice that there were no heel wins at Over the Limit?
That's stupid.
None. Zero. Zilch. Closest they came was Jack Swagger winning by DQ. He kept his belt. And the other one was Edge and Orton going to a double countout. That's the closest they came to a heel win. There were no heel wins.
What the hell?
I don't see where that...
Talk about oversaturation, man.
You just want, you know, rated PG and everything, but that's like rated G. It's like they make all the kiddies happy.
Yeah. Nothing to build off of either.
Exactly. The only real thing there is to build off is the Jack Swagger Big Show match, which to me was kind of garbage because Jack Swagger really didn't need to hit Big Show over the head with the belt.
Yeah, and that early on.
And I really don't. I love Big Show. He's from Wichita here in town. But the whole knockout punch thing is kind of dumb to me because if you're going to do that, why not just do it at the beginning of the match?
Yeah.
You know? Look, I got a big punch. Pow! Dead.
Yeah.
You know, he's not. He's rarely done that at the beginning of a match.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's done it like once or twice. But you know, when you're in a big title match like that, just catch him off guard and pop him.
Mm-hmm.
How hard is that?
Yeah.
that's you know.
I've always been very leery of like MMA type moves being in wrestling. Like Samoa Joe used that one submission, and you know, I understand where you're coming from on that because or Taz using the Taz mission, which is okay, but it is a bit. You're crossing into another realm of believability that's kind of like, I don't know, you have to kind of think outside the box, I guess, a little too much. Maybe that's just me, but...
Yeah.
I don't know.
And with that being said, I mean, I didn't think the pay-per-view was worth $10. You know, I really don't. There was hardly any build-up to half of the matches.
Yeah.
The R-Truth $1 Million Man match was really nothing there. You know, in all actuality, they should have let DiBiase win that one. You know, if it was Ted DiBiase Sr., they would have.
Oh, yeah.
DiBiase Sr. would have won. I don't understand that. The whole Kofi Drew thing, they can build off of that. I think they will. But that was still kind of a lame match. You know, it was just there. Unified tag team match. I didn't catch that match, so I understand that Tyson Kidd botched the ending of it with a heart attack.
Oh, yeah.
So, but that's my thoughts on Over the Limit.
I wanted to briefly just discuss Raw just a little bit, in particular the Bret Hart segments. Of course, as we called it, Bret Hart's the new GM. But for those of you that don't know, apparently he put the United States title up for grabs, and R-Truth won it against The Miz.
Another face win.
Yeah.
Another baby face win.
Was that at the pay-per-view?
No, that was a Monday Night Raw.
Okay, I was just making sure. Never mind.
Yeah. I was just saying.
I got confused there. I was like, what did I miss? Anyway, but no, on Raw, Bret Hart put the United States title up for grabs because he didn't want to wear it anymore, and I understand that. And R-Truth beat Miz. So Miz has gotten beaten 3 or 4 times now, which I guess is okay. But overall, I'm still kind of happy Bret's still there. I thought he would say goodbye by now, but back in my mind, I was thinking, I don't know. I think he's going to be the GM, you know, and or he wanted him to be the GM. But I think it's the perfect thing for him to do. I loved his segment with Batista, and Batista, I got to give him credit. He yelled a lot, but it made sense, and he made it kind of build up towards. By the time he reached that yelling stage, Bret Hart was in the ring interrupting his segment, so it makes sense. He's like, "How dare you interrupt me?" And I got to give Batista credit for that. He knows how to cut promos now. But I loved the segment with Bret, Edge, and Jericho, and how Edge and Jericho were arguing, and Bret cuts in and says, "How about this? We're going to put you in a triple threat with John Cena, and whoever wins is going to be in the Fatal 4-Way." And then Edge was like, "Well, I'm a better Canadian than you, Bret, and I'm a better Canadian than you, Jericho. You know, I'm the best Canadian ever," and leaves. And then Jericho goes, being the heel that he is, goes, "If I were you, Hitman, I would really wash my back around here from now on." And Bret just looks at him and goes, "I'll be looking forward to it." And I'm like, it'd be interesting, this trifecta Canadian feud. And so I'm really interested to see where they go with that. If Edge is going to actually turn heel and not be a babyface anymore. You know, will Jericho stab Bret in the back? You know, maybe try to put a sharpshooter on him, you know, kind of thing. There's so many things they could go with this. And of course, Bret being there to help the young talent, I love it. But I wanted to discuss that briefly.